Villainous Heroics by I Believe in a Happily Ever After on AO3. Chapter 20. Epilogue. How is it fair that I get my ass beat by both of you in training? It's not fair that Mike still trains with us too now. Like, okay, maybe at first that was fine because the whole quirk thing, but isn't he already licensed? This is bullshit, and you know it, Sensei. Training is supposed to be easier the stronger I get, isn't it? Hey, language, Hisashi chided, kneeling over Hitoshi and expecting the teen to make sure he was actually alright and not too badly hurt. It would be just like him to claim he was fine even with a broken bone. Hisashi knew that much, and he had only been training with him and Shouta for a couple months. Shouta, instead of being worried and frittling, only yawned and looked bored. Honestly, Eraserhead may have been an amazing hero, but Shouta was so lazy. He mumbled aboard, "If you have enough breath to complain, then you have enough left to go another round." Hitoshi groaned, the exact same way Shouta did when he didn't want to wake up in the bed in the Hitoshi groaned, the exact same way Shouta did when he didn't want to leave the bed in the morning, and it took a moment for Hisashi to stop himself from letting out a laugh. Instead, he focused on pushing Hitoshi up to at least be sitting, the teen giving him a quick, tired smile, before pulling himself up the rest of the way. "Do we really have to go another round?" Hitoshi whined, tired and bored, an entire body tense, and ready to move at the slightest threat. Hisashi was more proud than he could say, so instead he settled for stepping back and watching the gleam of pride in Shota's face as he charged and Hitoshi nearly dodged to his side. "Oh, come on. It's rude to not answer a question, Sensei. You're used to a lot more respect, you know." Shota shot back, along with a nasty kick, Hitoshi blocking it with crossed arms before the two were going at it. Honestly, neither of them knew what it meant to take it easy. Leaning against the wall of the empty gym on UA grounds, Hisashi sat down on the ground and watched the two spar as he let his thoughts drift once again to all that had happened since he had walked into UA 4 months ago without a voice and with little to no hope. It had certainly been a busy few months, Hisashi would say that. Not only had he taken all the exams and had been approved for a hero license, a teaching license, and a license to build support gear, but he'd also regained the use of his quirk, even if it was weaker than it used to be. That part hadn't been easy, but it had been easier with Shota staying by his side throughout every moment of the frustrating process. Shota, he had stayed with Hisashi even when it looked like Hisashi might not regain the use of his quirk or all of his words. He had stayed, and he had essentially kidnapped Hisashi and dragged him and Snowball to his much nicer apartment. And then Hitoshi had squirmed his way into his heart, and honestly, it was just. Hisashi couldn't believe this was his life. He was a hero. He was a pro hero. And he had his own radio show, even. And he was a teacher, and he had this amazing man who loved him, this great kid who was a delightful little shit, and these students who all seemed to care about him so much, and it was just overwhelming. "Hey." Jumping at the sudden voice, Hisashi blinked to see Shota was kneeling in front of him, holding out a half-empty bottle of water, expression edging towards concern. "You alright?" "Oh, yeah, of course, just lost in my thought." Hisashi took the water with a kiss to Shota's cheek, grinning as the pink flush from his sparring match grew just a tad darker. "He was taking it easy on me," Hitoshi complained loudly, Hisashi hiding behind the water bottle as he watched Shota roll his eyes and stand back up. "That's because last week you had a fever, and the last thing I need is another problem child who doesn't understand how to take care of himself." Shaking his head as the two argued, Hisashi stood up and breathed out a soft sigh as he let his thoughts settle. His new life was overwhelming, sure, but he knew he wouldn't change it for anything in the world. All right. Stop arguing, you two. We have dinner reservation to get to, after all. Hisashi clapped his hands together, pausing when he saw Hitoshi's confused expression. Shouta, you told him, didn't you? Of course. Shouta nodded, looking to Hitoshi. Hey kid, we're all having dinner tonight. Hitoshi, at least, found it funny. Don't worry, it's a cat cafe. And Hisashi found it funny how crazy these two were about cats. At least it will be if you can promise that there won't be any more incidents. That guy deserved it for kicking Mocha, and you know it, Hitoshi argued back at once, Hisashi shaking his head as he gathered their bags and made sure that they had everything together. Besides, it was just some water. Yes, just some water. Hitoshi seemed to forget the part where he had brainwashed the nasty guy into dumping the picture of water over his own head. Then again, Hisashi wasn't much better. He had been contemplating blowing out the man's eardrums. You have to admit it was pretty funny, Hisashi added on, watching Hitoshi perk up at having someone on his side. Shota's expression, though, made it clear that he thought of their humor. It was. I can and will punish both of you, Shouta glowered, Hitoshi halfway through laughing before Shota's gaze was on him. If you use your quirk like that in public again, I will use our training sessions for the next month to focus solely on meditation and study time. Hitoshi wasn't laughing anymore. As for you, first of all, I wasn't the cause of that incident. I only encouraged him after it happened. Hisashi pointed out quickly, handing Hitoshi his bag and then ruffling his hair. Second of all, that would you... Hisashi pointed out quickly, handling... Hisashi pointed out quickly, handing Hitoshi his bag and then ruffling his hair. Second of all, what would you even make my punishment? Because Shouta was so soft, and Hisashi honestly couldn't see Shouta following through on any sort of real punishment. Shouta paused before a slow smirk grew on his face, Hisashi feeling a shiver crawl up his spine at the quiet words of, "Do you want one that badly?" Right, that's my cue to get out of here then. Hitoshi spoke up loudly, Hisashi almost jumping as the teen shook his head and headed for the door. I'll meet you two by the gates. Don't get distracted by the idiots this time, Shouta called out for him, Hisashi smothering a laugh as he saw Hitoshi's ear turn red before the teen was quickening his pace and leaving the gym as fast as possible. There's no need to be so mean to him, Sho-chan, Hisashi chided, wrapping his arms around Shota's shoulders as soon as the man was close and drawing him in for a soft, now familiar kiss. Hisashi was never sure if he enjoyed the closeness of their kisses the most or the fact that Shouta always pulled him closer. Hisashi was thoughtfully distracted by the time Shouta pulled back to kiss at his cheek, lips quivered up into a smile against his skin. Maybe not, but it is fun. Are you really okay? Hisashi wasn't sure why he wouldn't be okay until he realized Shouta was probably referring to when he had gotten lost in thoughts. I'm okay, Shouta, Hisashi whispered quietly, the words for Shouta and Shouta alone, as he hugged the man closer, burying his smile against him as he felt the hug return just as tightly. Thanks to you. Over the last 4 months, when everything was happening all at once, Hisashi had often found himself thinking on what might have happened if it hadn't been Eraserhead to find him on the night of his Villainous debut. You know what I think, Shouta? Hisashi asked quietly, feeling more than heard Shota's soft hum against him. I think we always would have wound it up like this, one way or another. I think it all would have led here. Maybe there was a world out there where Shouta had been the villain, and Hisashi had been the hero to get him to see that the world wasn't so bad. Or perhaps the both of them met as villains, and they had decided that something needed to change, and slowly, so slowly, but so surely, saw that they could bring that change together. It was possible there was even a world where they were both heroes, and they had been friends from the start and had grown to be so much closer. No matter what, though, Hisashi knew that it all led back to this. No matter the universe, he had a feeling that it always led back to Yamada Hizashi and Aizawa Shota. Yeah, I think you're right. Shota, as always, knew exactly what Hisashi was thinking. When he pulled back, he had one of his small, genuine smiles, pressing another kiss to Hisashi's cheek. And what's that smile about? Nothing. It was all so busy and overwhelming and hectic, but Hisashi couldn't help but to laugh as he hung on to Shota tightly. I just have a good feeling about the future, is all. Shota laughed, low and rough and sweet, and pulled back to drag Hisashi along with a soft, "Come on, hero." Hero. It had a nice ring to it. This was such a wonderfully and cute fanfic. I'm gonna say, I believe in a happily ever after if you are watching this for whatever reason. I hope you know you're doing such a wonderful job. I really enjoyed the chemistry Eraser and Shota had Eraser. That's the same person. Eraser and Present Mike, goddamn, have in this fanfic. I think the chemistry is really good, and I love it. I don't know, my heart. I'm really sad that this series is ending. I'm sad, but it had a happy ending. Thank you. You didn't bamboozle me. Thank you very much. It was wonderful. I had so much fun doing this. I'm gonna look over I Believe in a Happily Ever After's stories and see which ones I'm interested in podficking, and if so, I'm gonna ask, and hopefully I get permission, because they did such a wonderful job in this series that I really want to do more of their stuff, you know? I know that they have other My Hero Academia fanfics. I briefly checked. I didn't go into detail and checking and stuff like that, but yeah, I would love to do some more My Hero Academia fanfics from I Believe in a Happily Ever After, because you are doing such a wonderful job with writing. I genuinely enjoyed it. You hooked me on in the beginning of the first chapter, and then the couple chapters you just kept hooking me on. There was points where I was like, should I read ahead and leave my viewers behind, kind of thing. I didn't do it. Don't worry, guys. I stayed loyal. But I was very tempted. It was very there. The temptation was there. The temptation, my dude. The temptation. It was there, and I almost took it one day. But no, I didn't. I stay loyal. But yeah, I really enjoyed I Believe in Happily Ever After, and I will say, I just realized that they have it's part of a series, and the next thingy of the series is a one-shot, and that's it. There's just one more one-shot to this, Villainous Heroics, which is Bound by Wild Desires by I Believe in a Happily Ever After on AO3. I have just asked for permission to podfic this, so technically right now I have not gotten permission, but the second I get permission, I will podfic it and I will upload it. I will say though, that one-shot is a smut. It is a smut. So the second I upload it, it's just gonna say it is gonna be age restricted. So just saying I've already established that boundary on my stuff, so do not worry. And if you're any of my family members, do not click on that video. Walk away right now. Have some dignity. No, I don't. I really don't. I absolutely don't. Look, that is very little dignity that I have, and I don't want to let go of that, okay? It's gonna get let go at one point. My family is chismosos. Yeah. But I had so much fun with this, and as always, my raindrops. Oh, the series that's gonna, I almost forgot. The series that's gonna take over this series is actually gonna be Just a Concerned Citizen, which is a Shindeku fanfic. So, tune in for that next time. And as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching!